Welcome to Can Angels Fly, Tarot, and More. My name is Nancy, and today I'm here to talk about the toilet tissue craze that's going on. The toilet tissue craze that is currently occurring is occurring because of this uh, threat, this pandemic, the COVID-19, which is the coronavirus. And so I pose the question is, does the toilet tissue craze exist? Is it happening because we're all afraid of dying due to defecation, extreme defecation? But before we begin, I want to submit my personal plugs. As mentioned, my name is Nancy, and you're on my channel, and my channel is called Can Angels Fly, Tarot, and More. If you're ever interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, you can do so by contacting me by email. My email is canangelsfly1@gmail.com. I ask you to please like this video, to share my channel with others. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Once you have subscribed to my channel, please remember to click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I go live and or upload a video. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. In a short while I will be coming on live so you can see me. The last thing is, if you're ever interested in offering me any financial support, you can do so by Cash Apping me. My Cash App account or link or whatever it is called is below this live stream. I do believe it is Can Angels Fly Tarot, or $ Can Angels Fly Tarot. Hi everyone, how are you this evening? I'm posing a question. Are we afraid that we may die by defecation? I'm just wondering. And yeah, I think it was yesterday I went live and I talked about what I believe the coronavirus is all about. And in the last live stream, I was sharing that I believe that it is propaganda. It is a fear tactic. It is a tactic to redirect the masses' attention away from what is going on a global political scale, as well as global business. You can locate that live stream. It was done yesterday, and I think the name of it was, I don't remember, something about the coronavirus. It's only 2 videos, the last one yesterday and this one today. Hopefully this one will be short. Most likely it will be, because I just want to get, show you the propaganda, the depth of the propaganda. One of the first things that I heard of after I heard of the coronavirus is that everybody was buying up all the tissue. Every store I went into, I kept looking at the shelves and I was like, what is going on? But I'm just thinking that everybody got more money than me so they could just go out and clear the shelves off. I had no idea people were buying it as a direct result of the coronavirus threat. And so I just been sitting up thinking about why tissue. It started with tissue, but of course it cascaded into other things like water, canned goods, other foods. I'm sure it has truly, this coronavirus threat has stimulated the market in so many different ways. Because you know how it is when you go out to the store. You go out to pick up one thing and you end up picking up something else. And so I don't believe this period is any different. So what we're going to do today is we're going to decode the significance of tissue paper. All the tissue paper being bought up. They say Costco's, one of my favorite stores, warehouses, don't even have tissue. And I love Costco's tissue, so we're gonna look at it because I have no notes. This is a theory, and once I had the theory, I began to investigate it, and sure enough, it was what I thought it was. If I am correct, I believe that this coronavirus is supposed to have started in Wuhan, China, or something, from people eating bats and whatever else, rats, bats, or whatever. And so everything seems relative to this virus uh, be coming from China. So I just want to take a look at some things um, to show you that it's propaganda. So I guess I'm a joy kill because I understand everybody. How you doing? Everybody loves. I can tell now that everybody loves propaganda. That everybody loves um, fear. We love fear. We love People love Halloween. We love roller coasters. We love thrill. We love excitement. We are bored. And so we get on the bandwagon whenever something comes up, including a pandemic. So let's take a look real quick. I just want to show you a few things, and then I'm going to let you ladies and gentlemen go. I'm going to turn off some of these images that I have here. Let me see if I can shrink myself for the purpose of beginning to explore. So we're going to explore here. I wish I knew how to increase, I don't know how to do it, to make the image bigger, but what I'm using are, of course, is my resources. Either I'm using www.dictionary.com online to help show y'all stuff. How you doing? You hanging in there? You got your supply of tissue and other necessary survival equipment or items. And so, no, it's no different than any other time. I use www.dictionary.com. I love Wikipedia. These are my preliminary search tools because they help me gather the information and the terminology I need to move forward. Is it that we think we gonna die from defecation, and we so classy we got to be able to wipe our caboose? Is that it? I don't know. I know I was raised old school. If you ran out of tissue, you got a washcloth and you washed your derriere. That's how I was raised. So it's no fear of not having something to wipe your derriere with. Even if we people became severely sick and again had diarrhea, extreme diarrhea, you wouldn't run out of things to wipe your derriere with. So why the hype about tissue? Let's take a look. We're here at Wikipedia. I don't know how this is going to work, but let me read. Hopefully you can see it. I can barely see it, but I'm going to try. It says toilet paper, sometimes called toilet tissue in Britain, is a toilet paper product primarily used to clean the anus, surrounding area of fecal material after defecation and other things. But that's not what I want to show you. We're going to go down a little bit here. We're going to read the history. Y'all read the history associated with toilet paper because it's going to make sense why toilet paper was the initial hype. History. Still dealing with toilet paper. It says, although paper had been known as a wrapping or padding material in, can y'all see the next word? I think it's China. Did this virus threat not originate from what? China, Wuhan, China? So pay attention. Why the hype around tissue? I know I'm a killjoy. I know we love fear, horror, and all those things. But let's look at it for what it is. It says, although paper had been known as a wrapping and padding material in China since the 2nd century BC, the first documented use of toilet paper in human history dates back to the 6th century AD. In early medieval, what did it say? Like China. In 589 AD, the scholar official Yang, I don't know how to read this, is Yang Zhu, I don't know, Yang, I'll call it Yang. Okay, wrote about paper tissue paper. It says paper on which there are quotations or commentaries from the 5 classics of the names of sages I dare not use for toilet purposes. Okay. He say the 5 classics. I don't know how this is going to go. Trying to see if it was anything else. I'm going to read this down here a little further down. It says, elsewhere, skipping a paragraph or so, it says, elsewhere, wealthy people wiped themselves with wool, lace, or hemp. What I say? Even if we were to be on the verge of dying of defecation, which is diarrhea, severe diarrhea, we would never run out of things to wipe our derriere with. So why the tissue craze? Even way back then, people, the wealthy, were wiping their behinds with wool, lace, and hemp. What else it says? While less wealthy people use their hand. Oh my God. Have y'all seen on like Facebook, it's been this like practical joke going around where somebody goes into the bathroom with a container of like chocolate pudding, and they call somebody, hey, I need some help. Come bring me a roll of tissue. Bring me a roll of tissue. I forgot. I have lavender scented toilet tissue here. My derriere smells so good. Anyway, they say, hey, I need some tissue. Bring me some tissue. I'm stuck on the toilet. And when the person comes to the door and they reach in to handle the toilet tissue, the person take the chocolate pudding and slap it on their hand. And the person on the other side of the door going crazy. They just going crazy. I find that interesting because that became a Facebook thing about a month or two ago. Really interesting. A Facebook prank or something like that. Anyway, it's saying here back in the day, the poor people literally wiped their derrieres with their hands. Where was it at? Their hand when defecating into rivers, or cleaned themselves with various materials such as rags, wood shavings, that must hurt, leaves, grass, hay, stones, ooh, sound like hemorrhoids, sand, oh God, could you imagine sand in your behind, moss, water, snow, ferns, plant husk, fruit skins, ooh, nice smelling derriere, seashells, they got that in the movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. They clean the derriere with seashells. Or corn cobs. Wow, that should do the job. Depending upon the country and weather conditions or social customs. Interesting. Not reading any further, just reading, gathering information. What are we doing this live stream? We're trying to figure out why is tissue the center of mass propaganda, or is this mass hype around it? I asked the question, are we anticipating being so sick or being on the verge of dying due to defecation or severe diarrhea? And I say no, that is not the case. The tissue is the center, is a part of the propaganda, as it is a sign. It's a what do you call it? It's a encoded message in this tissue hype, and so we're going to discover the code, the message that's hidden. So what we discovered thus far, just Googling tissue paper, is that tissue paper basically was first recorded to have been used in China. In China, Wuhan, China, is the location in which this infamous coronavirus is supposed to be spreading throughout the world. The first pandemic that we've known of, I do believe, in about 100 years. So, one of the next things that we learned is that the person in China that wrote about the toilet paper was, where's it at? History. Was this young, well, no, I can't see with that. I don't know how I can't make that bigger. As Zhitui. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, Young. And he wrote about toilet paper. And he said, sir, he said, if there's any paper with a quote or a commentary on it from the 5 classics or the names of sages, I dare not use it for toilet purposes. That's significant. Let's click on the 5 classics. Why is it that he would not dare use the paper that has commentary or whatever else he said on it, which is part of the 5 classics or whatever it was, to use for toilet purposes? He would rather use a stone or a honeycomb. Why? Well, when we click on 5 classics, we see the 5 classics here. Let's see if I can find what I find. The 5 classics. Let's read. The 5 classics are 5 pre-Qin Chinese books that form part of the traditional Confucian canon, the Confucian canon. Several other texts were already prominent by the Warring State period. By the Warring State period. We're following the clues to why toilet tissue is so significant at this time. If you're beginning to follow my line of thought, we have found first and foremost that it has been reported historically that China was one of the first places to use toilet tissue. The coronavirus originated from China. The next thing we found is that the very first person to record the use of tissue in China was this guy, Yang, whatever his name was, Yin. Okay. Well, Yin said, hey, I will not use the toilet paper no matter what if it has these 5 classical messages on it or whatever it's called. Why? You mean you tell me, Yang, Yin, whatever your name is, that you would rather wipe your butt with a stone? Okay. So when we go on these 5 classics, click on 5 classics to find out why that's so important. Why is it so sacred that you won't wipe your derriere? It says, pay attention, that it is a part, the 5 classics are a part of the traditional Confucian canon. It says several other texts were already prominent, already existent in the Warring State period. So, I'm going to click on this one. I don't know how to go back. If we were to keep reading on that particular page I just left, it goes more into the history and the involvement of China and China's culture and history. Okay, now we're talking about the Warring States. It says the Warring State period was an era in ancient Chinese history characterized by warfare. I hope y'all can see this. Warfare. As well as bureaucratic and military reforms and consolidations. When I read that, I was like, wow. Yesterday, when I did the live stream talking about the coronavirus and how I personally theorized that all of this mass hysteria surrounding the coronavirus as a pandemic is occurring to shut down our country, because I think that our country has been lost to another country. I believe that our country is in debt to other countries. And the primary country that the United States is indebted to is China. I personally believe that the United States forfeited their contract with China, their loan contract. They didn't make their payment. And because the United States didn't make their payment to China as scheduled and as agreed, China has repossessed the United States. But our country can't say that to us. They can't say that to citizens. So what they're doing instead is trying to quietly shift the power and the land, I'll say the land, from the United States, ownership of the United States, into the ownership of China. These are things we won't know unless we dig really deep. Again, this is my theory. And so the toilet tissue craze is a symbolism or symbolic of what is actually occurring. How can I say this? As mentioned or as shown, China was one of the first places, or the recorded first place on this globe to use tissue. So we have a location. Why? I guess this is me. Why is it that when I went to do my research, I guess I can say or ask, when I researched toilet paper, why was it China? Why wasn't it Egypt? Why wasn't it Russia? Why wasn't it some other place? How is it that the history of toilet paper that we take so for granted goes back to China, 2nd century China? And then the person that recorded the existence and use of toilet paper back during that time period says that toilet paper had some prose or commentaries or whatever on it, and he says, I won't even wipe my derriere with it. I'd rather use a rock. I won't use this toilet paper, a paper that I could use for toilet paper. I won't use it for that because it has the 5 classics on it. Then we click on the 5 classics, and it leads us to the warring state with the tissue represented, with the prose or commentaries on those ancient tissue scrolls, we'll call them, talked about the warring states or the warring periods in China. And those warring periods in China consisted of some things. It's symbolism. The tissue, is symbolic to the warring state period. And the warring state period for China consisted of what? Warfare. It also was considered bureaucratic and military reforms and consolidation. Wow. It followed the spring and autumn period and concluded with the Qin Wars of conquest that saw the annexation. I don't know. Y'all know I have reading deficiency of all other contender states, which ultimately led to Quan state's victory in 221 BC as the first unified Chinese empire, known as the Qin dynasty. I should be able to pronunciate that. I was our history major. Don't matter. Still reading deficient. So right there, it shows the symbolism of the toilet tissue and why the people in power have made the toilet tissue item of propaganda. It is a symbol of the craze that is going on. It is this tissue craze is symbolic of the transformation that is occurring on a political and economic global scale. As mentioned, I believe that the United States has lost the territory, the United States, to China. Now, has it lost the whole United States to China? I'm not quite sure. Because I had I want to do something. And this is, I don't have nope, not that one. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. I don't have any notes. I was just showing you the research that I was doing, just sharing to make sense of it. I don't believe we are threatened with dying of mass diarrhea at all. I don't think it's going to be a time period that we won't have anything to wipe our derrieres with. Again, we can always use rocks, cones, what they say, corn cobs, and any other thing, a wet soapy rag. And so the craze is propaganda. And right now what I wanted to do is, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I need United States. I tried this yesterday. Let's see. Oh my, I'm in the way. I locked myself in again. Nope, I have not. Okay. Let me go images and see. Oh, here it is. Now, I'm not going to click fully on it, but oh man. Now, okay. Don't do it. Maybe I can do me. Why aren't I moving? Okay. Okay. What I wanted to look, this is what I wanted to pull up yesterday, this little pie, and it shows the United States debt to the rest of the world. There are other countries in which the United States owes, I can't see. Oh, it's so small. I see it like it owes Brazil $140 billion. But look, it the biggest debt that the United States owes is to China. Now, pay attention. Again, the virus came from China, Wuhan, China. All of this propaganda, all of this mess, all of this, what do you call it, hype, coming from China. On an economic level, global economics, United States is a corporation doing business worldwide, and its biggest debt is to China. As you can see this graph at how much the United States owes China $1,113 billion. And right behind China, it owes Japan $1,064 billion. So I, again, believe that the United States reneged on their loan or their payment, and China has moved to repossess the United States or a portion of the United States. That's what all of this hysteria is about, and talking about the coronavirus and shutting everything down, everything from sports, schools, businesses, casinos. That's what's taking place. I do believe, again, this is just my theory. And so the toilet tissue is a symbol of a political move. I don't know what to call it. We see it in different movies where I did a video. This was a couple of years ago, and it was talking about being a part of a cult or a part of a particular group, the 11th house Aquarius. I know it's going to sound like I'm rambling. I am, because I don't have notes. But a few years back, of the astrological alignments led me to do a video called Cult, C-U-L-T. If you follow me, you might remember it. And I said, if you were smart, the title was the title of this video I talk about is if you were smart, you would join a cult, CULT. And in that video, I showed how the word cult, CULT, is a part of the word culture. And in that video, I went and talked about the different cultures and countries and the things that people on a particular land had to deal with, from the weather to the critters to everything. I talked about the importance of a cult or culture because it talks about the symbolism, the rituals, the religions. It talked about all of that. And so this tissue craze, this tissue that I hold in my hand, the tissue around the world, is a cultural symbol that represents China's supremacy, China's global growth. It represents China striving and growing. Remember when we were just reading Wikipedia, it was saying that the prose or the commentaries that were written with the of the five classics on the roll, on the scrolls of tissue, one of them dealt with the warring periods of China and what transpired. And at the end, it was China's victory. China's victory. Hello. Hi, George. What's going on with you? You okay, buddy? Hi, Yanni. How you doing? Hello, Nancy. Let me cut to it. Did you know they are trying to put a black face on the virus in India? They are blaming Africans for it. They will not rest until they put a black face on it. The black plague. Gonna make it the black plague, huh? Hey, Nancy, how you? I'm hanging in here. Do you remember the movie back in 1978 called The China Syndrome? I do, but I don't remember seeing it. I don't remember seeing it, but I remember that title. Now you're going to make me check it out. Now you're going to make me check it out in light of what's going on. But all of this is, a hype. And I worry. Oops, sorry for all the slapping. Because if it's what I think it is, our economics here in the United States is going to take a drastic change. Yesterday, in the course of that live stream, I was sharing that I believe that Donald Trump was elected as an emergency manager for the United States in order to try to, correct the United States economic deficiency or debt to the rest of the world, but he could not. And so with this tissue craze is what I'm trying to get to, is that it seems to me that the United States was lost to China. Is it all of the United States, all of the land, and therefore by extension the people? I don't know if it's the whole United States or there's just certain states or territories that have been lost to China. I also did a video or a live stream last year. It was called The Secret Message, in which I shared the message that I decoded that talked about how in this new year we will be confronted with something that would threaten our sense of physical, worldly security and stability, as well as our financial stability. And in that video, I referred to the 1930s and what took place, how the people that sat in seats of power at that time still stagnated the United States population so that they could put themselves in predominant positions of power and to implement the business moves that they wanted to, without anybody disrupting them or being a resistance to them. And in that, during that report, I also talked about the real estate opportunities that they benefited from, that they made for themselves, established and benefited from themselves, and they still benefit from. What am I talking about? That which took place in the 1930s. And I said, okay, y'all, when we enter this new year, again, there's going to be something that threatens our physical, worldly sense of security and stability, as well as our financial stability. It is also going to, there's going to be something dealing with real estate and territory. I also talked about it relative to that Kanye West. I talked about this yesterday too. The Kanye West song, God is King, or Jesus is God, or whatever it was. And I told you in that song, he told us that there's about to be some big real estate moves. And I wasn't thinking so much on a global level, but this is a global move, a strategy. And China is the person that is, or the country that is in control, is the power. And so when we start talking about, gosh dang it, what is it called? Territory, or real estate. We're talking about territorial, establishing territories on a global level, not just real estate, but establishing territories, and by extension, the people. Therefore, we need real estate. China is getting its money. No, I can't say it's not getting its money from the United States. It again has repossessed the United States, or a portion of the United States, in order to settle a debt, the debt that it has with the United States. And so, ride the wave with me in my line of thought. Is, say hypothetically, case scenario, China, the agreement was, if United States doesn't pay China whatever they supposed to pay and make their payments on their loan or whatever they debt, then okay, United States, you're gonna have to give China California, you're gonna have to give them Alabama, you're gonna have to give them the whole South. Remember, we owe these people, or the United States owe them, because I ain't got nothing from them. I did my $50,000 a year worth of work for 50 years. I need some change. Anyway, this graph says that the United States owes China $1,113 billion. If that is the case, what items or territory has China claimed in order to settle the debt? And it's not just like the territory, like I talk about California, or whatever they claim, California, Mississippi, Alabama, the southern states, or something like that. It's also the people that live on the land, because they're extension of the land. Remember, yesterday during a live stream, we looked at how much is a human life worth. A human life is worth $50,000 every year that they're alive. Why is that? Because each individual can contribute their energy that equals a value of $50,000 every year of their life, at least. So, what am I saying? I'm saying, if my theory is correct, and China has repossessed part of the United States, or all of the United States for this matter, all this ceasing, or stopping the flow of our lives and of the economy, and so that they can finalize business, what's what? What does China get? Does it get, again, Mississippi, Alabama, southern states, the West Coast, China, California does get it? And then the people, how many people are a part of the population? How many people will be working in that area to keep, the land going, keep producing, keep, resources? See, all of this stuff is big global business. And so, again, the tissue, when I'm getting to the tissue, is been made a hype. It's a symbol of success and a symbol of victory on China's part. You know what I'm saying? So everybody that's rushing out, we are celebrating China's victory over the United States. If I am correct, and this business move, we're talking about a global business move, has occurred, then China is now the world's power. the world's power. And we talked about that yesterday. And so for every roll that has been purchased at the store, you know, people have been hoarding tissue memes everywhere. I can't even go on Facebook without a tissue meme or something. I saw one where a person had tissue rolling down and they had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm sure they were tickled to pieces about that being so clever. But I find it quite interesting because I actually saw a video one time over in, I don't know if it was China or Japan, it was one of them, but they actually only gave their each person in population 2 squares of tissue, like in the public bathroom. Now you gotta look. There are so many. I think the China has the large. Was it China or Japan has the largest world population? Let me see if I can turn this off. Let's see if I can get back up here and be me. Ooh, that camera something is a mess. Let's see what I got here. I don't know. Should I click this? I don't know. Yeah, I should. Where my poopsicle at? My ice cream emoji. Last summer, the ice cream truck came outside and I sent my kids this emoji. And they came in and said, Mama, that ain't no ice cream. That's a poop emoji. I thought it was ice cream. It's like, glad you're okay. See the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Did you see it? Yeah, I saw the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's been so long ago. I heard a comedian mention your China point of view a few years ago. Really? Really? I'm going to have to start at the beginning. I don't get the tissue symbolism. And the Andromeda Strand. The Andromeda Strand, that's a movie? I never heard of that. Andromeda Strand. But yeah, so I wasn't on here long. Just came to share that with my research. I do want to go back and let me see how I get rid of my poop emoji, my ice cream emoji, and then I want to go back to this one. Yeah. And then I got to be little again. So the warring states. As I just came on here to talk, nothing serious. Let me see. Scars point toward the different ranges. How do I get back? See, I don't like that. I can't get back. Okay. Boom, boom. What about this one? Okay. Some toilets in Japan are more elaborate than toilet commonly found, and I gotta go back and look at that. Okay, I just came back here because actually I'm just doing basically live research, just looking at the significance of tissue. Now we talked about a little bit of the history. Let's see what else is here. During the 14th century, it was recorded that it's what is now Zhejiang province alone, 10 million packages. Okay, tissue. Let's see, elsewhere we read that these are all cited in the classical Bible. Let's see, also use the 16th century French satire writer Francis. Actually, India has the largest world population. India. Oh yeah, I seen the document. What is it called? A document. What is it? Not documentation. Document. What's wrong with me? Documentary of that and bad air quality. Oh my God, just it's insane. Let's see. In chapter 13 of the book 1 of his novel sequence, he has a character investigating the great number of ways of cleaning oneself from defecating, the use of paper as ineffective, rhyming that who his foul tail with paper wipes. Shall his buttocks have some chips? Oh God. He's like, forget the Z L O A. Oh, wait a minute, where are you? Okay, Nancy, Close Encounters. There was an area guaranteed of people had on masks. Someone said the air is okay, take off the mask. They did, and there was no threat. Get it, Z. Forget the Z. Oh. And so it was no, Japan and China have more deaths than births in their country. Why? But they got big populations, don't they? I don't think there's a virus. I don't either. I mean, there is a virus, but I don't believe that it is a threat to the world's population on a mass level. It is a pandemic, probably because it is taking place in different locations all over the globe. You know, I can dig that. But we're talking about would a couple, maybe 1,000 or so people, 1,200 people have died, and the world's population is how many? 7.5 plus billion people. I've been saying plus for a long time. So we are but 7.6 billion people, and only 1,200, I think, have died. Even if it's a couple of thousand have died, that is not a threat. Not like that. A real live virus like that, or a real live virus that, pandemic will be wiping it like the Black Plague. I want to go. Let's see. And we're talking about. Oh, I want to look. Let me look at this for as a commodity. And then it's a commodity. Say as a commodity. This is the toilet tissue, y'all. I'm just looking at the information that's offered on Wikipedia about toilet tissue. Just to come to understand how the hype is surrounding it. We've already discovered what I wanted to discover, and that we discovered is that the tissue is symbolic of China's victory, and basically over the United States and becoming the world's power. That's what that's about. Anyway, I'm still on Wikipedia looking at toilet tissue, and it says as a commodity. Joseph is widely credited with being the inventor of modern commercial available toilet paper in the United States. Was introduced in 1857, was available as late as 1920. Let's see. The greatest necessity of the age. The greatest necessity of the age. Medicated paper for the water closet. Let's see. Wheeler of New York obtained the earliest United States patterns on the toilet tissue and dispensers. These type of which eventually were in common use in the country in 1883. The manufacturer of this product had a long period of refinement, considering that as late as the 1930s, the selling the point of Northern Tissue Company. So, considering that as late as the 1930s, a selling point of the Northern Tissue Company was that their toilet paper was splinter free. Splinter free. Hello, Menace. How are you today? Hope all is well with you and your family. We are being, what you say, are you being nice or what? Narcs? Oh, narcs. I don't think there's a virus. We are having our usual poison air stressor. Yeah, the usual poison air stress makes sense to me. Hey, Nancy, I just found out that I have vitiligo, the skin. I'm losing my melanin. Say it. You know what? Stop, George. You brought up something. I don't have enough information on it, but there's something, I don't know. This is all theory. This is all theory. Let me make myself bigger. This is all, ooh. I look like the poop emoji, that big picture. Let me thin myself out. The magic of the camera. George, you hit on something. Let me see. Y'all know I got to do something with my, hold on, George. Because you really hit on something that has been concerning me for about 7 years. Did you go to the doctor and get diagnosed? Let's see. Oh my, where did I leave? Where? Yeah, I got so many pages open. Hold on, I gotta find out where. Nope, that ain't where I was. This, I need to. Can I? Where you at, George? I need to copy that word because I don't spell it well. I mean, pronounce well. Okay, found it, George.
Vitiligo.
Hopefully you can hear it. You know what I'm doing. I went over to www.dictionary.com, George, because you know my
Vitiligo.
pronunciation.
Vitiligo.
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 Vitiligo. It's George shared with us that he has just found out that he has
Vitiligo.
it's a skin disorder characterized by smooth white patches on various parts of the body caused by the loss of the natural pigment. Okay, now where y'all at? Okay. George, you hit on something. Now, this is 2020. It had to be in, I was going out a lot for a while, for some years. And it was in maybe 2013. I was trying to get into the makeup thing. Because I was getting older and I realized I had lost my luster and my shine. The eyes wasn't clear no more. So I was like, I gotta get it together. I done share it with y'all. I done hung with, some real live go-getters. And go-getters have a certain look. They carry themselves a certain way. So okay, I'm gonna do something about it because I'm trying to make a decision about what I'm gonna do with my life at that time. And so I said, okay, go buy all the MAC makeup and anything else you can buy. Learn to wear makeup and you can make it look like you got your youth back. And George, one day I put on the makeup and I could see the vitiligo, the blotches all over me. I was like, first I thought it was the makeup. I was like, why I look dirty? And I was like, I look and I just wiped the makeup off because I couldn't hide it. It just, like, the more I put the makeup on, the more it came through. And I really got in the mirror and I, changed my vanity to light vanity so that I could see. And I could see that I have these patches all over me. So I can't tell people business, but somebody I know that's pretty intimate in my life as far as relative, they found out maybe about 8 to 10 years ago that they had it. Now, it doesn't run in my family, at least historically it has not, but they have it. And so they've been, to the point where they're taking, I guess, medicine or doing what they need to do. Because I didn't know the depth of it. I guess they burn or get real sick if they're in the sun. I don't know, but they were taking medicine. And so, I'm like, what's going on? Me and this person are close relatives. So I'm like, I'm seeing it on myself. And then one day in the summertime, this is a couple of years ago, my kids, the young girls, my girls wear the little Daisy Dukes and little halter tops, and they, a little tiny, and they walk past them, they give me hugs, and I see it all over them as well. So what I'm saying, George, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's them chemtrails we hearing about, or like Yanni said, our normal poisoned air, but it's doing something to strip our pigment out of our skin. And it has to be intentional because it is broad. And I can't think of any other way that the powers that be could pull stripping people's pigmentation out of their skin on a mass level except through the air. Because where you live, George, is not where I live, so we're not, drinking from the same water supply. The grocery stores that I go through to, or the diet that I may have, we probably don't have in common because we're not in the same area. And the only thing that we have in common is the air. You know what I'm saying? A jet stream can take the air from where you are to where I am in a hot second. And so that all that stuff they talking about they putting in the air is causing it on people. When I say if my lighting, what is going on with my brain? Old people problems. If I had better light, then I may be able to show you some of these very, very, my this lighting, this light is poor. But when I say I have spots, George, they're everywhere. It's like it's thin. It's like it's thinning my pigment out underneath my first layer of skin, and it's like light here, light there, and then like my eyes are getting dark. They look real dark on camera. Eyes get dark, and it's light. Like when I turn my face, you kind of see where am I on here. You can see here where you actually see it's really light at. It's really light like that. Underneath my skin, the brown on top still exists, but underneath is washing out, and then it's darker here, and then there's these really light, like almost white, well, yellowish, like stained yellow spots everywhere. And they're all over me. They all over my legs and my daughters. Now they 20. My youngest are like 20. They got them all. They coming all down. It's all down their back and arm. Is everywhere. Just nowhere. My daughter has a whole patch on her shoulder. And so what I'm going into this about is that I've been real concerned about it. And to hear that you just found that out, something is going on. And so that's something that we need to research in detail. Where my WACPD at, y'all? Because we need to research this. Can I research this? Nope, I can't. I can't do it. Let's see. Oh, did I already use this one? Let me see if I use this one. I did, but I didn't. Y'all, hold on, George. I'm coming over here because I've been on. I couldn't see y'all. How did that come about, George? What is the prior sentence? For me, I haven't had any symptoms. Right. The bubonic plague spread across Europe because of their unsanitary conditions. That's another thing, George, that I'm going back and forth now, back to these pandemic viruses or whatever. And I find it interesting that one thing I've been reading online when I see the CDC signs that's all over YouTube and stuff, it's everywhere, but it says coronavirus disease. And if I'm not mistaken, a virus is one thing, a disease is something else. I think a disease is something that's more on a genetic level, and a virus is something that invades our systems, our bodily systems, or something like that. So I thought that was interesting. And I told y'all the other day on something I read about the coronavirus, and it used the word novel. And novel means fictitious, at least to a certain percentage. And so that's another thing. And then you bring up the bubonic plague, George, and I was thinking about that, the bubonic plague and different things like that. Back in the day, people didn't travel extensively like we do now. So, of course, their plagues, exposure or the circle of impact would be limited. You know, wasn't no jets, no airplanes, boats and stuff to go all over the place. So it would have been limited. And so, yeah, I can see it wiping out villages and stuff. And just naturally, those villages or towns are automatically quarantined to themselves, you know. And so, but you see how deadly history has, like the bubonic plague, how deadly it was to wipe out whole villages and things like that. And even at this point in time, if something was to happen like that, it would be as bad for at least a given location. You know what I'm saying? And then that would also be something that we would have, you know, be concerned about, because we do have vast travels and things like that. Another thing is that I don't even know when a bubonic plague took place, but we can say maybe 100 years ago. And since that time, we have technologically advanced in medicine and things like that. And a lot of things have had cures, and we have the ability to, manage them. And then something that I saw on YouTube when this coronavirus thing first came out, it was this creator, I don't even know who he was, a young white guy. He was making a video. He was the first person I saw hold up a what's the spray can, the name, the what's the name of that stuff that you spray over the house? The stuff you spray the house with Lysol. And he was reading the back of the can, and when he said it, I was like, it's sure enough. Y'all know I got a reading deficiency, but in some words, when I see them, they stay in my head, because either I get mad that I can't pronounce them, or I say I'm going to come back to them, and I'm going to, do what I do here on YouTube, keep listening to the word over and over and over and again, over and over and over again. And that was one of the words that I never went back to. And so when he said it, I was like, sure enough, sure enough. I remember seeing that word on the Lysol can, and it talked about how it was 99 something or 98% effective. I was like, so when he talked about it, I was like, wow. I said, if Lysol can kill that germ that could lead to that virus, then we already know how to deal with that particular virus. Do you get what I'm saying? We already know how to deal with it. And so right then, after he had did that video, this is early on with the Corona hype came out. I never was stressing after that. I was like, and then another thing is like I worked at a daycare, and one of the rules were every time you change a child, you had to spray the table down with bleach. I forgot how many parts water, how many parts bleach. You spray the changing table down, and you let it air dry. And then you spray it again, and I think you wipe it, or vice versa, whatever it was. And the whole point thing is it was supposed to be, 99% effective to destroy any germs at all, so it won't transmit to the babies or anything like that. And so, when it comes to the coronavirus, they've been talking about how it has this long surface life, a long surface life. And in all my years, and all the education I've received, I've never heard of anything surviving for an extent. Talking about viruses, for a long extended time once exposed. Exposed. Now it's airborne, so it's going to do what it's going to do. But at a certain point, it has to. It has this particular lifespan when it's not in an environment that it can flourish in, like being inside of a human body and doing what it do. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that don't seem right. Today I went on Facebook, and it's this guy named Alba something, a black guy. I think he's British or black British or something. Fine. He played in Daddy's Baby or something like that. Real fine man. But he was talking about how he was tested for coronavirus. He positive. I heard Tom Hanks supposed to be positive. I'm like, all these people stepping up talking about they coronavirus positive, and they looking fine. They look fine to me. They look fine to me. If I get a cold, I'll be looking like shit. Excuse me, I look like shit, and not that little cute poop emoji. I be looking like crap and feeling like crap, and I couldn't even make a video. So it feels like to me like it's a lot of hype. Like these stars have been put up to say that they have it, because the question started emerging on a broad scale. Do you know anybody that has the coronavirus? Do you know anybody? And then after people start really asking that, slowing down and started asking that, important question, that reasonable question, that logical question, then all of a sudden, oh yeah, this star got the coronavirus, and this star tested for it positive. And then I got on there today, and they had this old black woman laid up in the hospital with respiratory whatever, and it said my grandmother has the coronavirus and she's in with a quarantine in a concrete room. I was like, but it wasn't like somebody I know. It was one of those posts, like somebody repost and they post again and they start posting, and wasn't nobody I know. I was far removed from it. And I was like, your grandmother is in the hospital in Detroit, quarantined in a concrete room. I don't know if y'all have ever visited the hospital and went into quarantine. I have. And they put you in a regular room, and they close you in. They might have a plastic. I've seen some type of plastic like bubble thing before. They got the face mask and the gloves and everything. But I ain't never seen no concrete room. I seen the glass like the a regular room with the glass front and everything and the doors and things, and they put the sign on the outside and it say quarantine, do not enter, see doctor or nurse, da, 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 da. This, patient cannot have visitors or whatever the case may be, and they right there near the nurse's desk or with something like that. Let's see what y'all talking about. I just been going on and on. Okay, the bubonic plague spread across Europe because they're, oh yeah, I run my mouth so much. Unsanitary conditions. That's another thing that we have advanced, that we know a lot of stuff happened back then. All of those plagues and viruses and things happened because people were not practicing good hygiene. Now, that's some nasty folks that go to the bathroom and don't wash their hand. They do keep up trouble. But I do believe for the most part, a lot of us are much more cleaner than they were back then. Some of us are phobic. And they're back then people only took baths once a year. Right. Back then they didn't have plumbing. You know what I'm saying? They hadn't tapped into the water sources for the masses. All they had was water ducts, and the water ducts probably was like a drizzle. Like our shower drizzle when we get mad, it probably was the water duct. So it's different now. Yes, I went to the doctor, I got a diagnosis, but as a precaution to doctors giving me some medication to see if it's a bacterial infection. Or it could be a bacterial infection. If that doesn't work, okay. Well, I need to have my daughters go again, because doctors don't even seem shocked. They just look at it and okay. Your arm looks lighter. My skin is lighter. My skin, yeah. You know what? My arms and everything, even my hands, they're getting dark again. And when I say it's some crazy, my whole life is just crazy. I've just been looking. But I noticed that too. And what happened is, I remember I've been doing my house, so I'm painting the whole house. Right now, again, I'm taking another break. My daughter doing some painting. And so I've been painting and painting and painting and painting. And I looked at my hands yesterday, and my hands had flushed out. I kept telling my kids, I said, oh my God, my hands hurt really, really bad. They're swollen. I said, how my hands hurt and swollen from painting. But I looked at the color, my hands had gotten darker, probably due to poor circulation and obesity, or whatever the case may be. But whatever, it all lightened my hands and arms up. Since the day I didn't do any painting, I didn't paint anything today. No, I ain't painting nothing today. It's starting to get dark again, but my hands don't hurt as bad either. Yeah, there's something going on. Let's see. Brown spot. My skin is light, and my skin's having brown spots and designs going on. And it's like designs. That's what like designs. Or whoever or whatever has created all this madness is so ghetto. It's so ghetto. I don't even know that word. They just, whoever it is ignorant. Ignorant. Like, what? And that's why I didn't do any work today. I was like, what is this that I don't have the power that I want? I don't want power to hurt anybody, but I don't feel like, example, the powers that be should be able to regulate my life or rule what happens to me, and I don't have any say. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any say. I want say. A person can do whatever they want to do. I don't care, as long as I can have say over me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask to be here. I'm here. Let me make my own choices. You know what I'm saying? Let me, what they call it? If I'm a dig a grave, let me dig it for myself. I don't need nobody digging it for me. You know what I'm saying? And the things that they do, like the water, like in Flint. And I know it's not just Flint. But Flint, water, all of those people all the people that had seats of power made decisions for the residents of Flint, and all of them people out there sick. People don't even talk about it no more, but them people still sick. I guarantee you that. I bet you they getting them water bills again, and I haven't heard of them fixing anything. This is crazy for other people to have power over another person to that extreme, while they live in a life of luxury. Oh, no, I'm not that one. I'm telling you, I'm an evil person. And, ooh, God. I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to try. But if the opportunity open up, I do believe I could be a very, very dangerous person. Very dangerous person. Because enough is a freaking enough. You know what I'm saying? You don't see anybody paying for their crimes at all. And my thing is, if ain't nobody gonna pay for their crimes, if I do something wrong, don't say anything to me. That's the kind of person I am. I'm using the word. I bitch slap somebody. It's just too much. And then, like I said, whatever is going on that is causing people's pigment to be drained from their body. What is going on? What is it that we're not looking at? Is it the chemtrails that's causing it, or is it the heat ray thing that's attached or in front of the sun that I talked about in that movie, We Are Being Microwave? Is it that's causing it? What is it? What the heck is it? I hate being in the blind. And then a person ends up paying or suffering the consequences for somebody else's actions. Pet peeve of mine. I don't want to suffer no consequences. Me suffer the consequences for somebody else's actions, for somebody else's decisions. Oh no, a person gonna eat that. Oh, this system, no. They had to sit on me. I told you I was a scientific lab rat when I was young. And I know what happened, and I can understand fully now why certain things had to happen, because I would be somebody to contend with. They would have to give. I'll be in jail. I'll be in jail. It could be happening because of our the GMO foods. It could be, but then, I mean, it could be, and like as a black person suffering from that vitiligo stuff, and it extracting our melanin from our bodies is one of expression of what's going on. Because what I've seen, like I'm seeing a lot of on the opposite end of the spectrum, is that white people have these, like, they call it paralysis, not paralysis, it's something like that, where they have these red patches all over them. Paralysis, not paralysis, psoriasis or something like that, and I find that unusual. And their skin can be very blotchy, and I mean, I can see a person having as an individual person having a genetic, abnormality that may cause that. But my point is, I'm seeing it too frequently. And I'm looking like, what is going on? And I think they'd be like, take paralysis or something for it. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. But I was like, one or two people, okay. But I'm seeing it a lot. So lighter skinned people have, or white, however you like, I'm not racist, so I really don't care. They got these red fire blotches all over them, don't make no sense. Or this yellowish tinge, while black people got these these light spots coming. And then the darker a person is, another thing I'm seeing with extremely dark people or black people or African Americans, however you like to label them, African, whatever, is that I've seen a person skin so dark that they were purple. But that's so rare. I saw that maybe twice in my whole life. Y'all know I'm 50 now. Twice in my whole life. And it was when I was much younger. One was when I was a kid. But what I'm starting to see now is I'm starting to see that happening more or occurring more frequently with darker skinned people, where rather than them washing out like with light blotches, like I'm getting that vitiligo stuff underneath, theirs is going in the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's turning black purple and blotches on them. I don't know if y'all seeing these different things I'm talking about. So it's something in the air, and it's just manifesting differently depending on what skin color you are. Something going on. These people ain't right. That's what I can tell you that much. Lysol could create a respiratory. Oh yeah, I done did that. Lysol, bleach. I done gave myself respiratory issues from using too many cleaning products. I think is a way to end careers for actors. The example you just gave is funny. You think that's a way to end their careers? Plum play I think was a 15 or 1400. Notre Dame was around when it happened. Notre Dame was around when it happened. Yeah. I would like what I would like to do when it comes to Notre Dame, and I tried before. I don't know what it is. Maybe I haven't given it enough. I don't focus enough on certain things. I like today. I got on here to talk a little bit about the tissue, and a lot of what I do is I just go focus and get some basic information about something. But it's not many things that I go in depth with, you know. And Notre Dame is one of the people that I would like to go in depth with to study his little quadrants or something. Study all of that, and I would like to decode them, but I haven't been able to find them. I see some online, but it is not what I want. It seems like he had a vast library of things that he composed in the course of his life. But I understand that about me too. I understand that, and this is what's really wow, is that we all have this one lifetime. And some people choose to like work for the system, and they work for that system, the system, their whole lifetime. Usually, at least historically, 50 years, 40 years, their whole life, give all of their energy to the system. That is the same thing that is required, like Notre Dame, to, or I like to talk about the artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. They were masters because they spent their whole lives just focusing on being an artist or a sculptor. They stayed in the was it liberal arts or whatever? What is it? Fine arts? Not fine arts. It's called. I can't think. But you know what I'm saying? They spent their whole lives focusing on one field or one study and mastering it. So how can a person ever be a master if they don't choose and select one? And I'm just rambling, y'all. So that's something that is concerning to me, and it always has been in the course of my life. Because early on in my life, my the people that reared me, my mom, and just all people that had an interest in me, invested in me, of course, prepped me to go to college and do different things like that. But it wasn't something like I chose to say, "Hey, I'm going to college." And then when I get to college, they say the way it's set up, what do you call it? What degree are you seeking? Well, hell, I don't know what degree I'm seeking. What I wanted to seek is I wanted to take religion. I did. What do they call it? A religion, and I can't remember what it's called, in different theology and philosophy. That's what I wanted to focus on. But coming from where I came from, which was the inner city, that wasn't an area for a person to go into. Coming from the inner city, coming from a family like myself, it was go to college, get a degree in teaching or something that you can come out, make money with, and begin to pay loans back or whatever, and get busy and take care of yourself. And so I feel like all this time I've been here in this world and haven't been able to focus on the area that I like to focus on, and spend my whole life in that area. Now, throughout my life, my interest has been consistent, but like I say, I might be saying it wrong, y'all, because I'm a little cloudy in the head. It's been consistent, like spirituality. Those interests, it's always been my go-to. Always been my go-to. But it was fragmented by the demands of life, like having to go to work, being a mom, or being a wife, or being somebody's significant other, or going to church. Well, church was a part of it too, so I'll accept that. But it's always been fragmented that so I never got to just pursue and focus on my desired, I don't know, that thing that drives me on a deep, more emotional and psychological level. Again, it's always been interrupted and fragmented. And so my thing is, I think about it, because it's my experiences, but I also think about the world at large, the rest of the people in the world at any given time, how we have been forced to focus our energy on something else because of something outside of ourselves, whether parents, the system, whatever the case may be. And we never become masters. Never become masters. So today we sit here going through all this craziness, the coronavirus and whatever else out there, and the tissue mania, and none of us are masters of anything. We are, for the most part, very, very close to being idiots, and that is so disheartening to me because I feel it, and I know it, and I feel it that I know me. I'm greater than what you see, and I believe that people are greater than what they are. I don't know how to say it. I don't. They're greater than what they are. They're greater than the what they the environment they've been born into. But we don't accomplish. We're not accomplishing it. And this whole thing, everything from the broomstick challenge to this toilet tissue craze, you just name it. It's just like insane world star to me. When I say my heart, my heart is heavy because it's like insanity. And I'm like wondering, and I've been wondering this for a long time. Are we in hell? Because why is happiness temporary, fleeting, momentary, but anguish and struggle, and it seems to be the norm, the base, and the foundation. And I understand the hard work. I'm just off on some other stuff, y'all. I understand the hard work that it takes to create bliss or happiness. It takes a lot of work. And people that have been married, like, or in a committed relationship for a long time with the same person, understands what I'm saying. It takes so much work. Like, I bring up with Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo just as examples because most of us know of them. I understand. They have to understand what it takes to be a master sculptor or artist or painter, and the effort and the energy and the focus it took to do what they do. And the world's population, at least the part that I've been exposed to what I see, nobody understands that happiness don't come easy. It don't come free. You got to work on it every single minute, every single second. It's so easy for me to be angry. It's so easy. I can go outside and slap somebody now just because. I can have hate in my heart, and it bubbles. It bubbles like hot lava. And I have to consciously be aware of the emotions and the feelings I have going on in me at all times in order to, settle them down, to calm them, and to minister to myself in order to be able to smile and be happy. But I don't see that taking place in this world. Many people that I see, they just fall into they evil consciousness. Where are we? Where are we? And I ask that it still goes into it plays into all this insanity that's occurring. It plays into insanity that's occurring. This is a world. Why is it that it's not truly we are the world? Why isn't we are the world? Why isn't that the case? I understand there's differences on the different continents. I understand different weather patterns. I understand different vortexes that create the natural. I understand all that. But even though there are differences, why are these people that are in power seizing territory, making us pay for where we live? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy. We never have the opportunity to really explore who we are. And all of this, again, is this trending insanity about the tissue. I like a clean derriere. Lord knows I do. Lord knows I do. Harpo. Lord knows I do. But it's insanity. It's so much insanity that's taking place. And like George, when you talk about the Verilago, whatever it's called, it's a lot of people that are seeing these blotches occurring in them. But the crazy thing is that the doctors that are out here, the medical, field, people in the medical field, they see this on a mass level, and it got to be something that some of them know that they're not saying. And so they're perpetuating some agenda, just like the people that are over our media of all kind and the violence that is put on TV. And that's all we want. We want the violence, the horror, the film, the guts, the gore. But then when stuff come for us in real life, we begging for some mercy. But that's it. My point is, though, the people that create all the movies and stuff and entertainment, they embrace evil and dark and creating a hell state and keep perpetuating it. Why? Why do we do this? That's the question I'm at now. I know I'm just rambling, y'all. These are just things that's been on my mind. I'm about to let y'all go. But why do we do these things? Why do we perpetuate hell? Why do we collectively construct hell and act like we don't know we in it? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I've seen so many things that don't make sense to me. I done seen people in relationships. I done seen a person love a person like, oh my God, like almost worship them, love them, would never do anything, play the role, social role, and the norm in order to, be with the person, and the other person is hateful and mean and untrustworthy. Why? And then will stay with the person just to abuse them or be evil to them rather than walking away and saying, I really don't love that person, or that person loved me too much, it's too scary, just let me go. No, they will stay there and they will torture and torment that person that showed them nothing but kindness. Where are we at? What kind of world are we in? Y'all, I'm just overzoning in something else. I'm sorry. That was my mind. That's the things that's been on my mind. See, you shouldn't go meditate too long because them kind of questions come up. Let me read. I got behind and see. I could take this serious and their warnings if I knew they cared about us before this. Pour rubbing alcohol on your hands takes aches away immediately. Oh, I done put everything on them. I got Ringmaster's oils, alcohol. I'm gonna take ibuprofen. Today I couldn't paint. Like the other day, I wanted to write out some notes to plan for a live. My hand I can wrap my hand around it, but I can't control it now. Hurt. I'm like, on earth they treat us like we never get to grow up. You never get to grow up. As a group, we could stop this for real. I do believe that, but Yanni, but it goes back into we as a group we can stop it, but we also have to be willing to build like a safe haven, a sanctity. We have to put forth positive energy and not partial, not biased partial energy. We have to define what like goodness is and what is good, and understand what is evil. Most people don't understand what is evil. Like I gave the example of two people in a relationship. One is loving and trusting and doing all they can within their power to take care of themselves, the person they care about. They go to work to take care of the family. And the other person can be just as vindictive and evil, doing everything, cheating on them, underhanded. I mean, just anything. Why does a person choose to make that decision to be evil to a person that's willing to put the work in? Okay. And because they can, because that person lets them, is whooping, because that person lets them. Okay, we know that's the going excuse. to that question. But why is it also that that person that obviously isn't happy with that person that's working so hard on the relationship, on the family, on on trying to build a future, sustain them, why that person don't walk away because they ain't happy? Well, no, nobody ever asked that question. Nobody, I've never heard in all my life anybody ask the question. Why? And then if a person was to answer the question, they say because I can. Is what they say. Because I can. Because you can be abusive to someone, you do. And nobody has a problem with that. They turn to the person that is doing all the work, all the support, love and supportive works, the God type works, the righteous works, I'll call it, and say they're wrong, something wrong with them, they got low self-esteem, but never calling that person that keeps doing evil things evil. Never. I find that so interesting. So interesting. Um, you say I would prefer to use the professional strength Lysol. Me too. Me too. I love professional Lysol. I like it's GFS Gordon Food Services. Um, I'm not promoting no store. These are stores I shop at. They have all the industrial grade products, cleaning products. I like their stuff, and it's not really expensive. The shelves probably empty now. I ain't been out. You're right. If China needs help for this virus, they should get assistance from all the southern black grandmothers with their Lysol, Pine Sol, and bleach and pine tar soap to help them out. They need we give them all the ingredients. They gonna clean up over there. Clean on up over there. See, I got to be careful. I ain't got none now. Um I used to be. I guess I would still be a hoarder of cleaning products. I love cleaning products. Um, and this is my sin. This is my sin. This is my, what do you call it? Sin against the world and life. I love cleaning products. I love paper products. I love paper towel. Oh, I love paper towel. I like, what's some wipes, the Lysol wipe things. I love the Lysol wipes. I love tissue with a primary focus on Costco tissue. Costco tissue is the best tissue in the whole wide world, and it's reasonable. About $17 for 30 rolls. Love it. And I'm not a paper plate eater, but I like them because I don't want visitors to keep coming and messing up the dishes. But I like having stacks of paper plates, paper cups, all the cleaning products, the Lysol, everything. But I can't keep it. And candles. I'm a fanatic for candles. Me and the Dollar Tree we used to have a love affair. I got to get, back on. But I love candles. I burn candles everywhere. Um, everywhere. And I overuse. This is why I'm wrong, because I overuse everything. I love Costco's got the big bottle of Lysol too. I love it. I'll be going crazy. My kids were like, "Oh, mama, we gonna die." No, you ain't. You ain't gonna get no virus up in here. I love it. But it can be dangerous, like Yanni said, cause bronchial problems. And I know, because I pour a whole thing of bleach or something and be coming out. Yeah, that's his name. Elba. Yep, him. I've been running my mouth so long that I'm just getting down here. I'm going to read, y'all. Be quiet. I'm going to read. Yeah, Nancy. Reactors, if you're labeled with anything bad, who wants to deal with you? Definitely. Oh, my God. Okay, so you know what I'm talking. Rosacea. Yeah. Rosacea. That's it. Yeah. I find it interesting. That seems to be like getting out of control. I ain't being funny. I've been around different types of people my whole life, and I don't remember seeing that. People having these blotches everywhere, whether they white, black, or whatever. I don't never remember seeing that. I mean, I did when I was a little girl. When you see something when you're young, you be like, "Ooh, what's that?" So it wasn't frequent that I would see. What's it called? You know what I'm saying? The patches. Rosa, whatever. I gotta learn how to read. Rosacea. You know, and I remember seeing it like around somebody's neck or something. But I mean, I always thought when I got older, I thought it was like eczema or something. Again, being expressed differently because of a person's skin color. But something's going on. It's happening too often now across the board. I've been sad and angry for just what you're saying. Bullied out of being great, and that's where my anger and depression come from, because I know I have executed greatness in my life, and there's always been someone there that's attempted to take advantage of me. And then I'll tell you about the double-headed dragon, and I just don't understand why I just can't walk in peace in my excellence, and to you know, to build upon or advance my excellence, because I know I got it in me. It seems like it's always something. Like like for me, I don't have a good love history, I'll say. So in love, you know, I'm being the best of who I am, and the people that I've had as significant others didn't back me. They're totally against me. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. It's like I seen this person before. They were married couple, and the husband was into the church, deacon, all that kind of stuff. But the wife basically found this path, and so they were at odds, and it dissolved their marriage. And I know that, and it was crazy. Of course, I don't know the intimate details of their life, but it seems from the outside looking in that he was a loyal man, a God-fearing man that went to work, took care of his family, etc., etc. But that wasn't enough for her once she found this path and he was still in religion. You know, it was no reconciling. And the whole thing is, she became very ugly about it. Very ugly person about it. Like, I know heartbreak, it can be devastating, but to be able to just say, hey, you know, we can't, as a married couple, it seemed like she could have said, we can't stay together. You know, you're religious, I'm not religious anymore. She became very ugly. I don't know, ugly on all levels. So maybe something else was going on. Again, I'm on the outside looking in, but it just seemed like it could have been handled differently, you know. And it, you know, I don't see, we're talking about greatness, being great, and how you can, I know what I want to say. There can be things that block you from achieving your greatness. But like, even though when she's separated from her husband, divorced from her husband, I didn't see her get any greater. You know what I'm saying? She removed herself from that situation. Maybe it was something in her heart. I don't know. And then the husband himself didn't get great either, because he was still held captive by religion and probably the heartbreak. And as I'm saying, it's something about this world. It's not just the people. It's something relative to the life itself. I'm looking like, I don't know how to explain it. It's something that I don't think we can see. We can kind of sense it, but we can't see it fully. We can't see it fully. And so it just everything is so crazy to me. But why, I mean, how did those people that did achieve greatness in their life achieve greatness in their life? You know, especially focusing on people that weren't born into privilege. Not being, but I mean, like, you look at certain people, look at astrology and how astrology say, oh, okay, you're going to relate to this physical realm in a particular way during a particular time. And when it happens for some people, I guess it connects them with the right people at the right time, you know, the right opportunities at the right time. And so they get to achieve their greatness. And I guess that's what bothers me. I don't understand how the life selects who gets to achieve their greatness. I feel like this: if I don't have greatness, then why am I here? If I cannot move and what it would take in that which I am made, I'm built for it. I know that I'm built for something in particular, but not life hasn't lined up to allow me to advance myself. It has allowed me to live and to experience, to see what I was built for and my capabilities, but it hasn't allowed me the ability to advance myself, to become a master in it. You know, that's the kind of stuff that bothers me. I would like to know that answer. It's a couple of things. I know y'all be like, what is she talking about? I'm just on a rambling rat. An hour and 41 minutes. I was only supposed to be on here under an hour, but I got to run up my mouth. Let me see. In some offices today, people had TV on, freaking out, spying on each other. A few were chill. I was thinking they are going to get it in their heads first. I hope I don't start looking like a. Oh wow. Was that a calico cat? It looks pretty aggressive. I hope it gets done and over. I hope so too. Nancy, I don't remember seeing a person with that condition when I was younger. Not to say it didn't exist, but I don't ever recall seeing anybody with that before when I was younger. Nancy, we could be alien invaded. Alien invaded. Oh yeah, I want to talk. There are Twilight Zone episodes revealing this moment. Don't send me back to that. I started to start watching Twilight season 1 again. And I just went through all of them. What that was a couple of months ago. Yeah. But when you talk about we could be being space invaded, I remember making a video here on YouTube because I was like so shocked. I was talking about how I had been looking out the window and sitting outside, I think last summer or something. And I kept saying to y'all, I said, hey, I'm seeing something up in the sky and it's moving in the pattern. It's moving in the pattern. You know, like I forgot how it moved, but let's say down 3 squares, over 2, down 3, boom, boom. Something like you see what they used to have, what are they not VCRs, what are DVDs? When they first had the DVD machine and you, before you put the CD in, or DVD in, the movie in, they had this, like, screen where the ball used to bounce and go on a pattern, boom, boom, hit the wall, boom, boom, or whatever it was, like that. And I kept saying, I said, y'all, I'm seeing this in the sky, and I look and I'm seeing multiple, I figure it was satellites, that's what I think, stationed in the sky, and they're moving in their pattern or their rotation. At the time, I wasn't sure what it was, but I think I know what it is now. Because 5G is supposed to go online next month, I think those were satellites that I was seeing, and based on what I've been hearing about 5G, is that 5G is supposed to guarantee that there is internet access all over the world, in any corner of the world, and more, and no drop calls and all that kind of stuff. And so all of that which I was seeing in the sky last summer, I do believe there were satellites being put in place slowly on a grid in the sky. Imagine a net, and the net got every corner of the net where it's netted at. You know how a net is linked at? Is a satellite, and it has this pattern on that net pattern, but the satellites are very, very close, you know, and it's netting around the whole earth, whether it's round, flat earth, don't matter. And so all of these satellites are constantly moving, and that is a part of the 5G system that was being put in place. You gotta remember, this is a massive global system. So it's not like it's been put up overnight. It's been put up in stages over years. And we can be assured that it started ever since maybe the 1980s or 70s. Because let's see, this is 2020. They usually say it runs 50 years ahead of us. So that would be 2000 minus 30. What, 1960? Since the 1960s, of course, they started developing everything. But I believe, in the last 2 decades, they probably been setting up this 5G. They been knew about this 5G stuff. And last year when I was looking at those satellites, or what I think they are, and they're moving in their patterns and all of them in the sky moving synchronized, that was them putting up the another stage of associated, connected with the 5G coming online. And an invasion. I tell y'all, I don't know nothing about no space aliens. I've only had a couple of things happen to me, or that I'm aware of, relative to space aliens. I told y'all my mama said she was abducted, and she said she was abducted by something that looked like an alligator or a crocodile or something like that. Said she was so afraid, and they probed on her. She talked about that. What was interesting to me. I always tell you, my mom was a sober, serious-minded person, so for her to say that, I was like, wow. And then I also told y'all the next thing that happened was in 2000, no, and what's this, 1996 or 97, something entered our atmosphere that felt like it was going to rip my house out of the ground. And the light shine, like you see, like you say, Close Encounters, the high beam light, see, like it was going to snatch the house out. And my brother was there. This was in broad daylight. This is broad daylight, middle of the day. My brother worked for the city of Detroit. He had came in with bubble guts. So he had to use my bathroom. He ran in my bathroom. Sister, got to go to the bathroom. And so I was like, okay. So he go to the bathroom. And I'm in the living room cleaning up. And all of a sudden, that force came. And it was so strong. I was like, it was horrifying. It was not scary. It was horrifying. And so I'm like, oh my God. It stunned me. I'm like, oh my God. What should I do? Because it was that just the intensity of what was what was happening. I was like, I need to go look out the window and see what this is. I might need to go in the basement. That's my thought. And I took a step to move toward that window, and something said, you better not look out that window. It told me to lay on the floor. And I told you, I took a step back. I laid on the floor, made my kids lay on the floor. I thought the house was going to come out as foundation. I was, oh my God, praying like, what is going on, horrified. And then it ended as quickly as it started. And I jumped up and I ran in the bathroom and kicked the door open on my brother. He said, he was sitting on the toilet reading the paper. What would you do? I was like, do you feel that? He was like, feel what? He had not felt nothing. He had not experienced nothing. I'm like, oh my God, what was that? My phone started ringing. Go to my phone. It's my mama. My mama asking me like, girl, what was that? What was that? I was like, I don't know, mama, I don't know. And so she was like, well, what did you do? Did you look out the window? I said, no, mama, I didn't. It told me, and then she cut in and she said, something told you, you better not look out that window. You better lay down on the floor. And I said, yep. She said, because that's what it told me, and that's what I did. I was like, wow. So after we and her talk, I called my girlfriend. My best friend, she ain't heard nothing. I'm calling everybody I know, ain't heard nothing. My mama friend on the east side, we're west siders. My mama friend on the east side had the exact same experience, felt the exact same thing. Felt I was gonna pull the house out whole house out the foundation, whatever it was, and it was real bright light. We in the house, and I don't know, was it real hot that day because of the blinds was closed. The blinds was closed. was out that day. I can't remember. I just know it was daylight. But I wasn't no winter because my brother just came in. He just came in. He was at work, so they had to be the middle of the day. Yeah, it felt like it was going to pull the house out. And I just remember it being real bright, like movies they show you with the real bright light. And it was like, boom. I was like, and so for a while, I was like, was that like supersonic jet or something like that? I'm like, supersonic jet? I don't know what it is. But it was like it was pulling the house up out the foundation. I was like, oh, I thought that was the end of my life. So it was people that we did in the fight on the east side had the exact same experience. Me and my mom, who we stayed within a couple of blocks of each other, but people could be in the same house and some people experienced it and others didn't. So that's the only stuff I know about space. I mean, aliens and things like that. And I wonder, I wonder about that too. I don't think we humans can be the only creatures in existence. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then I'll tell you about some of the people I know here on Earth that I've seen some weird stuff off of them, on, them. It almost seems like I know this is a suit. And what's inside the suit is what is interesting to me. First time I looked at the human body as a suit was in, Jake was born in 1997, I think. 1997. My cousin, she died of cancer. And she belonged to a big church here in Southfield. And I go to the church to her funeral, and this guy speaking. He was an amazing speaker. And he was a white guy. And I was just so shocked. I tell y'all about different people's races and things because it matters in the context of what we know and what we learn and what we experience. But when he spoke at my cousin's funeral, he's a person of the church. He talked about the physical body as a spacesuit. I was like, I just remember sitting there like I looked around at the whole family because big mega church here in the city, in Michigan, in Southfield, mega church, Word of Faith. Pastor Butler, I think is his name, but not the man that spoke. Somebody that they put to speak. And so when the man started talking about spacesuit, I'm thinking I'm gonna look around and everybody's eyes gonna be like, "What is he talking about?" But he spoke so wonderfully, and he just talked about the physical body being a spacesuit, and basically unzipping it and how she stepped out. But it was that concept that he put in my mind, which is interesting because that back then that goes to show that the church doctrine was changing. I never heard of no church talk like that before. Now I visited that church. They was sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, believed in talking in tongues and all kind of stuff. I ain't never heard nothing about no spacesuit. But that day when that man said that, that's all I could think about. And I did what I do. I started researching and I saw what he was speaking about was really the truth. But why do I bring it up as I'm rambling? It is because I forget. Old people problems. But it's that church was changing then. And it was just, I wonder, I should go back now and visit and see what they minister about. Because that wasn't what they were speaking about in the church. It was the old kind of ministry, Old Testament, and some of the and all that. And jumping and speaking in tongues and falling out. And it wasn't nothing about the physical body as a spacesuit and talking about, I even saw, it was a pastor back in the day called, what's his name? Ben Hinn. Oh man, what's the guy name? He was on TV. And he was the first pastor I ever heard talk about a dinosaur. And that was maybe around that same time period. So it's something that the churches became aware of, is what I'm saying as I ramble, around that time. And this was the time period where I told you the house was shaking. I told you I was about 94, by 96 that house shook. It had to be 96 when that house shook. And it was about 97 when my cousin died of cancer. And that was around the same time I think it's Hen or something, the TV evangelist or whatever, talked about dinosaurs. It was something going on in that period. And that's also the time, that's also the time period when what went out, y'all? The water went out, the power went out across the country, United States, and it stopped the water from working, and all the power just went out. Talking about the power grid is messed up across the country. That was the same. That was the same time period, y'all. Who remember that? All that was the same time period. So George, you started this accent about talking about aliens. Now I'm wondering because that was all at the time period, but I didn't put it together. Because it happened. This happened. That happened. Within a couple of years of each other. Some of it might have been, within that same year period. But that's the same time when all of a sudden they didn't have no explanation, when all the power went out or the power grids went down around the country, and we did not have no power for a week or two, or something like that, and no excuse, and the water stopped. And that's crazy. I just remember that like yesterday. When that happened, I was over my cousin's house, and her friend had just put a perm in her head. And when the power went out, her friend came running downstairs, screaming and hollering, because it wasn't no water to get the perm out of her head. And all she could do was go in the toilet and try to get the perm out of her head. And the only other water that was around was little tiny blue baby pool out there with a bunch of dirty leaves in it. And she had to get down in there and wash the perm out of here. And it was so funny. Y'all was tickled. I'm just going back down memory lane. I don't know if y'all remember when this happened, when that power went out. And so I'm like tripping because this woman got perm hair. She hollering and screaming. This is my cousin friend. They all went to this church, Word of Faith. So anyway, I ain't gonna talk about the people in their faith. So I'm cracking up. Then all of a sudden my cousin was like, well, where the kids at? Because she stayed in a townhouse thing. And they had a playground in the back. But they had multiple playgrounds throughout the townhouse. So she look out, she called her son, call my kids, They don't respond. Now, mind you, they go to this church, Word of Faith. They have a certain belief and doctrine and all this kind of stuff. So they believe in the rapture. And the rapture was hot then, too. The rapture, and I can't think what it was called. So the rapture was hot then too. I remember all that. And so she's like, the kids ain't responding. Everything seemed like it just got quiet when the power went out back then. Y'all know, anybody talk to me, I got to skip. I'm going to come back and read the rest of the comments, y'all. Because hi Yvonne, how you doing? Blacks and fellas. Hey. And so, both brothers died in 1990. Oh, both your brothers, mine. Who died? Brother 99 died. And it was a lot of strange stuff. It was crazy stuff going on there. Your mom is Dr. Bad, the reptilian. Show. Yep, my mom's. I guess she didn't say reptilians. She said they look like dinosaurs. In my search, in my walk, that's what I learned was they were reptilians. And she talked about it and all them probing and sticking the same thing other abductees say. My mom said they took her twice in her life. Once when she was a little girl and once when she was a grown woman. And she said she hope she don't never see him never again. So y'all got to tell me if y'all remember this power outage back in it had to be 1997 or something like that. And it was across the whole country, United States, when the power went out. And so her friend she on fire, she crying, and she was a really high yellow girl, and she was red, and I'm cracking up, rolling. My cousin looking for the kids. The kids ain't nowhere. It's this eerie silence because all the electricity that went out. So y'all, we don't grasp that electricity makes so much noise surging through our appliances and things like that. This day when that stuff went out, everything was quiet. Like what the heck? And so my cousin, all of a sudden, it was like, ding! The rapture happened. Y'all should have seen her. And she got another high yellow tall. She was running. She got real long legs. She was like an ostrich. She was running everywhere. She was crying. She was going crazy like, Jesus! I know I ain't got left. And she was so serious. She was like, the rapture didn't happen. She was running around looking for the kids, calling. She done ran to one playground to the. You remember? She done ran from one little play area landscape back behind her little townhouse to another, and she crying. I mean, snot running everywhere. I can't believe I got left. The rapture happened. When I say y'all, I was rolling. Her friend was screaming because her head was on fire. My cousin, that fool, was running around screaming and banging on people's doors. Wasn't no noise, wasn't no sound, wasn't no people. And I was rolling. And then all of a sudden, here come the kids. And by the end, my cousin I had a nervous breakdown. And she was mad. She said, "Oh, I thought the rapture happened." See, I thought the rapture happened, and I got left. I was like, "Oh my God," that shit was crazy. And I was like, but all that stuff took place in the mid to late 1990s, and I wonder, because the same thing happened in New York too, just recently, and I did a video about it. I'm not from New York, but I, watched YouTube, and they were talking about the power outages and the strange lights in New York. And now that you sparked my thoughts, George, because the same thing happened then. The strange lights, like I said, it lit up it was already daytime. How much more light can it get? It was so bright, and in the intensity it was ever going to pull the house out. I didn't hear from New York that they felt that vibration or like it was about to pull a house out the ground. But they talked about these lights and these strange lights, and then the power going out and all that kind of stuff. That's the same thing that happened back then. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing that happened back then. At the same time, again, why am I thinking it's important? Because the churches at that time was the first time I ever heard them talk about dinosaurs, aliens, basically, and the human vessel as just a biosuit to be able to inhabit this physical, to interact with this physical world. Um, and so I'm starting to wonder, have we even been invaded extraterrestrially? Somebody, what's this man's name? His name is Seeger. What's his name? Seeger. I think his name's Seeger. I can't remember. And the way they got YouTube set up now, I can't even look. I want to say something. Seeger has this channel, and he had a picture of the Vatican and the popes and the cardinal, and they were having a ceremony. I guess somebody sent him the image, and in the ceremony, in the lineup, in the what they call a progression, or not progression? Is it a progression? And then the parade, like the progression. I can't think, y'all. I saw that it was a reptilian type of creature present and participating in the ceremony. And so, when we look at all the different parts, or the evidence that's being presented to us, it seems as though if there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of stuff going on this earth globally. And it's this fight for domination, world domination. And my thing is, why would anybody want to dominate the earth? What could you possibly get from it? Because I ask that because we're so temporary. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we know dies. Procession. I don't know how I could forget that word. That was a word that I was dealt with in art history forever. I never, my mind is going, y'all. Old people problems. And so why would a person or a group of at least human beings want to dominate the world, and their lives is so temporary? So temporary. And so when we start talking about tapping into aliens and alien invasion, or it's possible, because maybe aliens have a longer life period than ourselves. An example is that is a movie called Jupiter Ascending. Where those entities were, what do you call it? immortal, and so that would make sense to want to dominate a planet if you're immortal, and you'll always need the resources throughout all of your unending existence. But other than that, it doesn't make any sense. The people that are in power, I'm talking about, the popes, the cardinals, or whoever, the queen, wanting to make sure that they maintain control of this world, seem like they're doing business for something that is extraterrestrial. That's something I don't go into on my channel too much, because again, I don't know a lot about extraterrestrial stuff. It's just little things, it's not enough for me to put stuff together. I've seen some things, but it's not enough. Like last night, I done seen so many things in my life, little things, till I lay and stargaze and look at the sky all night long till I fall asleep. It's hard for me to go to sleep for a long time. I couldn't sleep because I'm sitting up and waiting for something to happen in the sky. So last night, I was doing the same thing. I sleep with my window open year round. And, let me tell y'all something. Oh, yeah. And so I'm looking up at the sky, and all of a sudden, something like came through like Superman. I don't know. You know how they show Superman fly real quick? I watched it through the night sky. I couldn't see what it was. I could just see. I have no idea what it was. I wasn't expecting it either. I couldn't see it coming. I saw it. I couldn't see it coming. Like, to watch it progress toward me. Process was the word. Precision. To progress toward me. I couldn't see that. It was just in the moment, like supersonic fast. There wasn't no sound, complete silence. And it had these, what do they call it? Motion streams. I'll call them motion streams. It looked like motion streams, like it pushed the air. So like the air opened up and suspended for a minute and closed. It was a long line, so imagine a long line spinning, the air itself spinning out and pushing back in along the stream. So I didn't even see what the source was that caused that effect. I could just see the stream happening. I was like, wow, I wasn't ready for that. That's all I said. I was like, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that because I haven't seen anything really strange in the sky. Except for the last time when I was watching the patterns, the satellite next in the pattern. And before that, when I told y'all I seen that cigar way up high. And it was strange to me because it was a helicopter, which revealed to me just how high this tube or this cigar-shaped vessel was. I told y'all 2 airplanes came through, plane came through, helicopter came through. They all came in within moments of each other, which helped me build a tier to see just how high that mother sucker was. And that bitch was high. And not only was it high, in order for me to see it, it meant that object had to be enormous in size, whatever it was. I was like, okay. And I even told y'all, I sat there and I looked at that thing. I was in disbelief. It was so far out, I couldn't believe it. And it was just how everything had lined up. I was like, what's the chances? 2 airplanes, a crop plane, a helicopter come. Now, I'm watching this mother sucker. I'm seeing it clear. And then I told y'all, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm looking in the northern sky. I'm sitting on the side of my house during summer. The northern sky. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, coming directly toward me. Everything else was traveling east-west. Even that thing was traveling from west to east. So, all of a sudden, coming from north, headed south, right, and this is an airplane right over me. Came right out of nowhere, like the sky opened up, boom, airplane there. And I'm sitting there the whole time, sky blue. It ain't like I saw it approaching. is coming. Like, oh, here's come an airplane. And it's just headed in this direction, headed to the airport. No. It's like, boom, sky opened up, boom, airplane was there, boom. And it was low. This was the crop plane. That motherfucker, excuse me, it came and it kept coming, and then all of a sudden it clicked this little switch, obviously, and the chemtrails start coming out. I was like, oh my. And it came, it's like, it stayed, it was like this, way up in the sky, like that. And I watched it switch on the chemtrails. I said, okay, Nancy, if you stay in this seat, this airplane is going to fly directly over you. You just watched it come out of the sky, out of the blue. And then you just seen it obviously click on the switch, because now the chemtrails spraying out. If it stays with its course, because I just sat there for a minute, and it comes, those chemtrails, this airplane is flying right over your head. So the chemtrails is going to fall on you. So I waited until it got too close for comfort, and I got up, I went in the house, I closed all my windows and shut all my doors, and I came and sat down on the couch. Bottom line, I told you it'd be a few things. I told you one time I was sitting on that same side of the house, just sitting there. This was last year. I was on JWTV and talked about it, because he talked about it. He talked about the dragonfly that is a dragonfly. I don't know. I need a pen. It's a dragonfly, but it have a backpack on. It's like what's them drones? It's the size of a dragonfly. And so I'm like, okay. I think I told y'all about it. I was sitting out there. The dragonfly came. It hovered right here at me and looked at me, and I looked at it, and it moved over here, and it looked right here. I looked over at it, moved over here, it floated back, and I just kept my eyes. I was like, nah, you got to go now. You got to go now. And so I got up to shoo it, and it moved out my way just so I couldn't touch it. It was a drone. I'm looking at the little damn thing with the little backpack on. So one day I'm watching JWTV, and hot dang, did he talk about it and show a picture of it. I'm on somebody's list. I've always been on somebody's list. Been my whole life, so. And that's why another thing I'm mad. How I've been on these lists that people, don't know about. I've been on somebody's list, some folks' list. But I can't get a goddamn thing. I'm not that important. I can't be no threat. I ain't got no money. You can't do, I don't know nothing you can do in this world without money. I don't know nothing in this world you can't do without some social influence. And I ain't got neither. But Lord have mercy, I've been on somebody's list. I done talked about it before. I done talked about gang stalking. I done talked about chemtrails, gang stalking, and being, I call it a scientific scientific lab rat. Yeah. When you're taken against your will by the government and they do shit to you, and they put you back here in the general populace for everybody else to think you crazy than a mother sucker, and you suffer the rest of your life. See, we don't think these. You look at. I tell you that story just like that. I don't go into details, but you look at me as like it doesn't. That don't make sense to you now, does it? Does it? Tell the truth. Does that make sense to you? That me, this person that you see, has been taken by, we'll say by a branch of government, we'll say, and violated, used as a scientific lab rat, and then placed back in the population, and has been watched and stalked by said branch plus other relative government branches for the majority of my life. When you hear a person say that, I would like something wrong with that, because we don't see us common people as a threat. I tell y'all, I can kind of see how I could be a threat if I had power. If I had social influence, I could probably be a threat. So maybe, what I'm saying, they know a little bit more about me than I know. I don't know. But my point in saying that is when people share such things, you have to have evidence. Like the Tuskegee Airmen. If the evidence was never acquired, people would have never believed it. Just said nasty trifling black men that went over and fought war. I mean, it's so many, and that's my whole thing. Like that's what one thing I have. I'm just rambling, y'all. I have concerns about our penitentiary system. You know, um, what's going on in them places. You know what I'm saying? People that don't have a voice, nobody hears them if they don't have family. And a lot of times we hear stuff come up out of them places. You know, most of it's hush hush. What are we? I mean, who are we? My thing is that we don't believe each other. We don't trust each other. We don't believe each other. Well, I understand why. I understand why. Because it's them people that exist, like the person I was talking about in a relationship, the one that's always evil and backbiting and don't want to do it and just, it's them kind of people. It's them kind of people that lie. It's them kind of people that perpetuate different forms of evil in their world. In the world, whatever it is, whether it's a doctor that's misdiagnosing people with cancer so they can give them a medicine and pack their pockets. That's why we don't believe each other. And so the powers that be or were, that's why they win. That's why they win. We Aquarius' rants matter. My rants matter. My rants matter. You are on my blessing list. Accept it. Fear is a lower dimensional form. No weapons formed against us shall prosper. That's the fear. And that's, you know what? Fear, people don't even know fear. That's the thing. I like fear is, again, another form of entertainment. Fear. I've been to some some extraordinary, what they call it, haunted houses around Halloween, where I know the people had to be in the special effects or something. It was insane. Make your heart stop. We like to be scared, is what I'm saying. They got something called, what's the name of that place my kids went to? Incubus. I talked about Erebus or Incubus. I talked to my son, introduced me to that name because he talked about the video I made with me and him. I interviewed him and how that particular spirit demon came to him. But once he introduced me to him and I became conscious of him, I end up, kept my research on and, really got to understand what that spirit is about. And it makes sense, that spirit of, I think it's called Erebus. Is it Erebus? Something. It made sense why that spirit visited my son. It made sense when I learned. I was like, oh, that is him. That is my son. I got it. That's a shortcoming and his weakness. I see. Hell, I forgot what I was talking about. But you're super cool, Nancy. I appreciate you. Craze are the best. We rock. We rock. Tomorrow I'm gonna try to do some work. I was about to say something because I was talking about the spirit, but I forgot. I forgot. It's like, what is all this for? Why is this? What is all of this for? I'm getting bored. It's like life is moving too slow for me now. Move too slow. Maybe get bored when I move too slow. Oh, I was talking about fear. That's another. I see people, humanity, people that create humanity, something wrong. Like fear is something else we glamorize and, like horror and blood and gore and death and abuse and I'm talking about domestic abuse, cruelty, lynchings, all these things. We love horror and terror and demonic stuff until it gets real. That's the issue. Until it gets real, we think some of the stuff that we be experiencing be real, but that's the thing, is we in love with like a fictitious horror, new word, novel horror. We're in love with that. We're in love and we're sadistic. I think it's the word is sadistic. That's another thing. And I have a sadistic nature too. What do I mean when I use the word sadistic? And just in case I'm using it wrong, is we get off, our nuts get off on seeing somebody else in pain and hurting. Oh, I'm going back to the example when there's a couple and one will and one won't. You know what I'm saying? One working real hard to make it happen, to put forth the effort, and the other one won't. They vengeful, they mean, they untrustworthy. They stay in the relationships because they're sadistic. They like seeing up close and personal that significant other that loves them so and doing everything in their power to make it work. Suffer. We're sadistic. But yeah, it's novel. It's fun. It's entertaining. And I say that we really don't know. See, this we really don't know, like what horror is. How can I say it? That sadistic spouse or lover loves it. It make their nuts hard, make their nuts wet, whatever it do, to torture and torment the one that loves them, that's trying to work to make it, work out, to raise the family, to do whatever. They get off on it. But that same person, they think they're hard and they know they're dark, and they may not never confess openly that they're sadistic, that they love it. They do it for the enjoyment and the pleasure of it. I don't ever say that. But what they don't know what hell is. They don't know what torment and torture is. They think they do because they're executing it on somebody else. But it is not until it's their turn. And that's what the Bible talk about. It says it's going to be too late. It happens in a blink of an eye that you yourself or that person ends up in like the seat of torment. And then what I'm saying, so imagine if I'd have spent my whole life or a few years just tormenting the person, just being cruel to them and mean to them, and they doing everything in they power to be, neighborly to me, a good spouse, a good child, a good sister. Everybody just telling them how stupid they are and they a loser, and they got low self-esteem and don't nobody say nothing to me, and I'm doing everything under the sun to them. The day eventually comes to a person like myself playing that role, in which I am in hell, that I am tortured and tormented. And at that time, remember, I loved it when it was somebody else. But when it's my turn, it's this horror. It's this unending, unyielding horror that never stops. It's deep, it's penetrating, it shatters your soul. Kind of horror and terror. That's what's going on in humanity. People sadistic than the mother sucker. They think they're evil. They are. But they ain't demonic. It's a difference between being evil and demonic. This is one of the things I'm seeing, is that the people that are evil will be meeting they will be confronted. They will be consumed, absorbed into a demonic consciousness. I tell you, I'm a sadistic person too. I can see this as plain as day, but I don't know when it happens or where it happens. Yeah, it's evil. There are really evils, again, sadistic people in this world. And I see the absorption. Because, how can I say? Because the person that is evil and they do cruel and mean things, they remember they possess a certain level of consciousness. They get their nuts up, get their nuts wet. It's a certain level of consciousness to be able to do that. Certain level of consciousness to have an appreciation of that. So there's a time period in which the person is absorbed into that overall consciousness that gave them that knowing. And that overall consciousness is demonic. And they swim in that ocean. Could you just imagine? I've seen it. I have seen it. I have seen it. And I'm seeing so many things. And that causes anxiety in me. Because it's something, what I've been looking for over the last few weeks is this a link that I'm missing. It's something that I'm not seeing. And I've been trying to just calm down and meditate and, find this link, because it's a link. I see it's a piece of the link I'm missing. Piece of the link I'm missing. What link am I talking about? I'm talking about everything we done talked about. I'm talking about everything from the coronavirus, the hypes, the pandemics, the everything, people's behavior and disposition. I'm talking about religion. I'm talking about everything. There's a link. Something is something that I'm missing. It's just one thing, and I just don't know what it is. That's what I'm like waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. Because it all links up. And I don't know if the absorption that I speak about happens. Like, I give the theory that the United States has lost its territory, land, to China, or a portion of it. And all of this that's taking place in this world does seem like it is a part of something galactic. I don't know that. Maybe that's the part that's missing, but I can't see that being a part that's missing. And I made a video talking about how our souls, our physical bodies, we talked about our human bodies, our human lives have a value. But our soul is like a spirit, is a spiritual commodity. We talked about it being a spiritual commodity. Once it's out of your body, your soul, that essence, that consciousness, doesn't die. Like, for instance, the consciousness of warmth. When a person dies, that information doesn't die. I know what warmth is. You know what warmth is. Somebody else on the other side of the world knows what warmth is. So it doesn't die. So when a person dies, their consciousness of warmth goes back to the source of the consciousness that is warmth, that creates warmth, that defines warmth. And that's just one example of the things that we can be conscious about. And so I'm talking about after physicality, going back into spirituality, into the spirit, into what we call the ethereal. You're there and you're just conscious. There's none of this. There's no recollection of this brown skin or anything. It's just the consciousness. It is there. There's something that happens there. It's this and there, but it's something there, and I can't see it. I can't see it. I don't know. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I gotta just stop trying to rush it and let it be. Let it be. But I'm 50, y'all. I ain't gonna be here forever. I feel like we are in a sci-fi acid trip. That's how I feel. Cruelty is an American cruelty. That's a great word. Cruelty is an American pastime. These movies put spells on us. Yes. These and that's something I never really looked at. And I said it before, like music, yeah, because some music got really, really, really crazy. But movies, I didn't think that at first. But now, yeah, it's like, yeah. So, I mean, it's so easy to cast a spell on somebody. That's what's another thing that makes me angry. Like we were talking about being blocked from becoming mastering ourselves. That's annoying. Another thing that's annoying, that it's so easy for a person to cast a spell on you. Now, come on, man. I'm going to give you an example of a spell. Not just the movies. A lot of music. You know how people were against rock. I can't remember that. It's called Dirty Dancing. I can't remember back in the 80s. Where they outlawed the people dancing in a particular community in the music. Because they said it led them to sin. I can't remember the name of the movie. Um, but like what they call hard metal rock or hard metal whatever rap. And I like music, uh, but I'm conscious. But even though I'm a conscious person, I know when sometimes I listen to music, it makes me want to hurt somebody. It makes me want to do something to somebody. I'll be ready to turn up. I already got a problem with my, keeping myself under control. So I could just imagine someone who is not conscious and not aware that they are being, enchanted what they're capable of doing. And so I'm not a person that, keep company with that because I'm aware of it. Because I fight it off like, okay, and I listen to the words that are in movie, in music and different things like that. Y'all see, like I research, like I looked at the tissue. I do that after sometimes when I watch a movie, and I go into deep. What is it really trying to say to me? What is it trying to invoke in the viewer? So I look a little deeper. And then another thing, I mean, it's so many spells that are being imposed upon us. And again, that leads me to say, who are we? Why are all these spells being imposed upon us? We got short-term spells, we got long-term spells. Always for somebody else's interest. Long-term spell, going to school, is a long-term spell. By the time you get to college, the educational system has programmed your mind in a particular way, and I'm not just saying this because it's trending. See, this is the problem I had because it's trending. I've been living this. I done did it. I done went through the school system. I done experienced it. I done sat there and I asked my whys. Like, you want me to do this? Why? Would you tell me why? Math, tell me why you want me to add letters and numbers together. What are you trying to tell me? Why? And all I did was get in trouble. I even got in college sent to the dean's office. Why? You know what I'm saying? So I done lived this. Like, what is going on here? And I realized, like I told y'all before, I realized I wasn't there for me. I was there for something else, for somebody else. Okay. And then short-term spells. Like I told y'all I went to the casino the other day. I could feel my blood pumping. I sat next to a woman years ago when the casinos first opened here, one of my first visits. And the woman was a nurse, and I think she said she made $32 an hour. I'm guessing it's been a long time. She said, I make $32 an hour. Either I'm at work or I'm here. And she's like, she spent all her money there. All her money. Even though she was a nurse and made a considerable amount of money, she had failed to pay like her mortgage. She had that bad of a gambling habit is what I'm bringing up. And so I'm looking like the bells in the casino. The bells are ringing. Ding, 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 ding. It's the potential for a win, a big win, to be entertained or whatever. That's a spell. And people get caught up in it. Like that nurse I met that time. Spent all her money. Had messed up her mortgage. Man, we talking about a nurse making $32 an hour. Come on now. A nurse making $32 an hour. She probably work all kind of crazy hours. She had cash, but she spent it at the casino. Different. But who? How did they know? What research did they do? We already talked about that before. But to understand what lights to put up, how to, and what tones and at which decimals to have the bells ring, to have your adrenaline pumping, to get you into such a wishful state that you get caught in a loop or get the gambling bug. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. What is it? In order to cast a spell, it got to be something like even tapping in somebody's lower needs, the need to survive or something, or to be important, or to be a winner. Everything from the music industry, everything is all casting a spell. We got Beyonce Knowles and Cardi B, and they are modifying their appearance to be the epitome of the standard of beauty, and somebody's backing and funding them, helping to cast a spell to do it, so that the rest of the population will follow them. A certain, demographic of the population are following them, and that person is cast and the spell is cast upon a person, and they look in the mirror and don't love themselves, don't like themselves, they're never good enough, they're too fat, too skinny, too black, too ugly, da, 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 da. And so they go to the stores and they buy all the high-end makeups and this and that. And I've seen people where by the time they put the makeup and the wigs and everything on, they look the splitting image of Beyonce, or the splitting image of Cardi B, or whoever else is out here they splitting image of. But it wasn't like they moved to just enhance themselves and their features and their, you know what I'm saying? So you know then that it is a spell. They've been enchanted. You know, I mean, look at how broad this is. Is this really just about sales? It seems more to me, because it's on every level, about gaining control. Spells put on us by the religious institutions, churches, you know, practices. I mean, name it. We talk about Oprah, enchanting, somebody to admire. We love Michael Jackson. Oh, he just had a gift. And I don't know. I would have to look at Mike through another lens, but I don't see him. I know he was very influential, but I didn't see him per se. I wasn't a big fan. I mean, I'm a fan, but typical fan. But I didn't see him, you know, intentionally trying to. Maybe he was make black people white. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Mike may have done, but I didn't see him as a person that was making, you know, doing witchcraft per se intentionally for a purpose. He just was magic. It looked like he just was magic. And so the certain people had to possess him, make him work for him, have him work for him, in order to be able to control the magic that it seemed like Mike was granted um, by at birth. So that was seemed different to me. But it's so many different forms of enchantment and spell casting that exist that it leads me to ask again, who are we? When I say who are we, you know, I'm talking about humans, people. Um, who are we? That all of this effort is put forth. Is it just to get us to spend our money? Or is it something greater? Why isn't it okay for each of us to be ourselves? Why isn't it okay for us to pursue our interests and to become masters, to find something we love and we work on for the rest of our lives? Why do we have to pay to live where we live? Why, once you buy a house, do you have to continue to pay property taxes? Why do you have to continue to pay for water? Why? Why do we continue to dig up the various vortexes in this earth and destabilize Earth? Why? We don't have enough already made toilets. We don't have. Well, we probably keep making tissue, maybe, but we don't need to even do that. Why do we keep doing it? Why do we dig up more diamonds? How many diamonds can you wear? I mean, what? How many drill bits do we need? Diamond head drill bits do we need? How many? You know, it was this program on. Gosh dang, what was the name of that? I used to love watching History Channel. History Channel. And at some point in time, they had a program or a documentary on what the earth is worth. I'm going to try to find that. What the earth is worth. And they in the program, they talked about the diamonds. Remember, there are vortexes in this earth. There are particular areas and spaces and caverns in this earth that are vortexes, meaning they function and process a certain way just to make a particular product. In this example, I'm talking about diamonds. Just make diamonds in this part of the earth. And so on that program, they were talking about just what percentage is what percentage of diamonds have been extracted from the earth. And I want to say it was about, I don't remember, I think the gold from the earth that has been extracted was 75%, and maybe the diamonds was about 45% of the world, world's concentration of diamonds, raw diamonds, or pure gold, so like 75%, I'll say, I don't remember what it was, gold was extracted. What's the earth worth? And it was interesting that that program showed basically like we'd almost completely gutted earth out, all the vortexes out. Now remember when I'm talking about the vortex, a particular part in the earth creating something, whatever it is. Let's say this is oil or something. In this particular area in Kenya, Africa, in this area, whatever, is crude. Once it is extracted, it's going to take so many years for that system to produce more. If that system isn't damaged or thrown off through the, sudden extraction, I'm sure the earth has, it renders so much, it pours so much out, just like a volcano. That's nuclear energy in a volcano. And so the earth gives it off after a certain time. It produces and then it releases the volcano. It produces, so it knows how to balance itself. And so what I'm saying, this man is, violating earth and extracting from different, vortexes. It could damage that vortex, in which the earth would not replenish itself in that area, or whatever, item it is, or product it is. And then even if the vortex is not damaged, I mean, it still function. It can still have the same pressure. It still has the same atoms and molecules and stuff that'll come together and do what they do because they weren't made to do that. Some of this stuff takes millions of years to create. Millions of years to, maybe press coal into diamond. I know now science has come a long way. They can make the carbon something and press a diamond artificial. But I'm talking about the natural process of the earth. That had to take thousands and thousands and thousands of, depending on what it is, millions of years for the coal to develop in the earth and to press so hard that it created diamonds in it. And however gold is created in this earth, it took thousands of years. And we just extracted all of these resources in just over 100 years. Well, I mean, longer than that. We'd say 2,000 years, but back then we wasn't doing what we doing now. Now we're extracting everything, and it's not for the use of sustaining our lives. Like gold earrings, not going to sustain our life. Fronts in your mouth, not going to sustain our life. Bangles, not going to sustain our lives. Trimming gym shoes or the toilet or in gold is not going to sustain our lives. Now gold is beneficial in making, like, again, different conductors and things like that. Yeah, that sustains our life, which means we wouldn't have, if we used it for reasonable practical means, we wouldn't have to extract so much from the earth. But because we continue to misuse these things, we keep taking and we're not stopping. So the way I feel like it's something like the earth is being, what you call it, shriveled up, drawn up. It's being drawn up. It has to be. Think about it. Think about it. If you don't understand what I'm saying, find that that documentary on the History Channel called "What Is the Earth Worth?" When you start seeing just how much of the internal organs, we'll say, of the earth have been extracted, therefore there are many gaps in the earth, you'll realize that the earth is being sucked dry. Something is going on. The earth will be sucked dry and it will not produce in our lifetime that which has been taken away from it. Now that's something to think about. And the rest of our life, none of that stuff is coming back. It is not coming back. So it's something really going on that is not being told to us. But it's up to us to be so aware. But that it's up to, see, I'm talking about deeper, bigger things that on a mundane level, normal level, typical level, we don't have an interest in, because we like it's too big, we can't do nothing about it. And that's where I return to the question, who are we really? Obviously we can do something about it, and doing something about it has to do with who we really are in nature, that we can't tap into, because everything outside of ourselves is telling us what we gotta do, what we gotta focus on for all of our lives, so we never get to that level of mastery. Good night, y'all. I'm just rambling on and on and on and on, because y'all know Aquarius what? Rambling rants count. Good night. I'm gonna read the rest of the chat when I rewatch and decide if I'm gonna keep this up tonight or not. I mean, keep it up or not. Good night, y'all. Bye. Let me go back to my poop emoji. Death by